I know what you're thinking. You want to get started making music, but you just have no idea where to start, but you know it includes sampling. Well, lucky for you, I'm going to stand here and explain it for you. First thing you're going to need is one of these. One of these. One of these, and maybe one of these. And probably one of these. Now, I bet you're wondering, how are you going to afford all of this? Well, if you're like me and you're on a budget, thankfully there are very simple, easy, and cost-effective ways to get recording, sampling, and music production done for very little cost. So the first thing you're going to need is, of course, a microphone. So this is an AKG Perception 220. Right now, the asking price for this microphone is between $135 and $150 US. But if that's out of your budget, no worries. Usually you can ask your local music shop or even go online and find used microphones for well under $100, sometimes even under $50. And they're still going to be high quality microphones. And chances are, if you're sampling and you're doing a lot of sample manipulation like myself, the original sample might not matter that much. The next thing you're going to need is something to actually plug your microphone in with. One of these. This is an XLR cable. Often they're just referred to as microphone cables, but this is what's going to get your samples and recordings from out here into your DAW on your computer. And so we're going to need to be able to plug this microphone into something. We're not going to be able to plug it directly into our computer. We're going to have to use a digital interface. So I got one right here. This is an old M-Audio one. I rarely even use this, but it's a great example of just a simple 2-channel mixer. Most of the time, these are gonna fall in between $100 and $200. Focusrite has a great 2-channel mixer that you can get for about $99 online. Definitely go ahead and get started with that. The preamps are gonna be very high quality. And some alternate bonus material for you. You may end up going with a pop filter, especially if you're recording vocal samples. This is what's going to help you reduce those plosives sounds in your recordings and prevent the microphone from getting a bunch of information it doesn't need and clipping it. And next, one of my favorites, a field recorder. This is actually a microphone to go, essentially. It actually just runs on batteries, and you can take this microphone anywhere to record anything at any time. It'll have an onboard hard drive or some kind of device that you can save it to, maybe a mini disc of some kind. You'll be able to get those samples on your computer so you can import them into your workstation. And last but not least, you're going to need a computer. Now, if you're in the market for a laptop, I've gone online and looked. You can find great laptops with at least 4 gigs of RAM that'll get you started. Well under the $300 range, in many cases under $200. I'll be linking a list of items in the description so you can go online and check for yourself different pieces of kit that you can get for a great price. So that's going to cover it for the physical gear. Let's hop into the software and see how it's done.
Okay, great. So we've gone over all the gear, and now we're going to jump into the software on our computer to find out how this all gets put together. So the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to open your digital audio workstation. For me, the DAW of choice is going to be Ableton Live. So right here, you're going to see that you've got a number of different tracks here, and what we're going to focus on today is the audio tracks. That's these two right here. So you can already see my voice is already actually coming through the input. If you don't have this here, what you're going to want to do is go over to the right. You're going to see those little circles right here. So this one, it's got the I and the O. That's for input and output. And that is what's going to show us our microphone inputs and outputs. So first, we're going to choose where it's coming from. So earlier I showed you that interface. You're going to plug your microphone into that. And if you're using a condenser microphone, it's likely you'll need to use phantom power. So go ahead and hit the phantom power switch, get your level, and let's get started. So what we're going to do is we're going to choose where it's coming from. I'm choosing my external. That would be my sound card or the interface I was just talking about. And then we're going to choose the input. So as you can see, I've already got the microphone on channel 1, and that's where we're going to keep it for now. So the next step is to set it up to record. So down here at the bottom in Ableton, it could be somewhere at the top for you if you're using a different audio workstation. This little circle right here is going to be what's going to allow you to record. So now, you can actually hear my voice coming through. Might be doubled. Let me go ahead and turn that off. So now this channel is ready to record my voice. And you're going to see we're going to be able to get some samples right off the bat. I'm not going to use anything fancy. I'm not even going to reach for something to play on or drum on. I'm literally just going to maybe hum something into the mic or clap my hands together. So let's go ahead and go for it. So we'll go ahead and set it to auto. And then we're going to hit this button at the top to record. That was bugging me. A couple of those claps really clicked. So you're able to see that I was able to get some pretty cool samples just from clicking my tongue here. And so now what we can do with these sounds is we can actually go ahead and put together a clap. So let's go ahead and add some more audio tracks. It's Control T in Ableton. That's the hotkey for you, Control T, or Command T if you are on a Mac. And let's go ahead and split up these samples. So the first thing I like to do is I like to go ahead and isolate everything. I like to turn off the grid just because I don't like being locked into that, and I'm gonna go ahead and separate them all anyway. So to go ahead and split these transients apart, we're gonna use Control E. So that's, you just highlight where you want the cursor to be, Control E, cuts it open. Now I don't need that. So let's go ahead and do that for these. Great, so now I've got them all split across, and let's go ahead, let's stack them and see what kind of sound we get. So we'll go ahead and we'll just put them all in different tracks real quick. Cool, and we can go ahead and group all these together. So we just highlight the first one, Shift, hold it down and click the last one, Control G to group your tracks. And we'll call this Sweet Clap, Clap. And so now what we want is everything to start in the same place. So you can see how there's a little space before this one here, a little space before here. So we're gonna go in, hit Shift Tab, and now we can go inside the sample. We're gonna click this little marker here, and we're gonna choose set 1 to 1, and that's gonna make the sample actually start right on that transient. So now you can see how it starts right at the beginning. We're just gonna rinse and repeat, everybody. So this is the tedious part. I will probably fast forward through some of this. I'm gonna get a little bit before this one. And just so you know, most audio production is really just frustration, healthy frustration. All right, look at that. They're all nice and lined up. They're all at the start, and we can go ahead and layer them together. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna put that grid back on. Let's go ahead and put it to the quarter. And I'm gonna line them all up just right on the one here for today's purposes. Let's go ahead and put that right here. Wow. All right, so they all just snapped at it right there. That was pretty cool. I like the way that that sounds. Let's listen to that again. There's a fat clap right there. Let's go ahead and we don't need any of that information right there. And now I'm kind of thinking this sounds a little thin. So there's kind of a trick you can use to fatten up your clap sounds, and that's to bring everything slightly off the beat. So we're gonna go ahead and listen to each of these individually, find out which one's gonna be our main one, or our main clap, and then we'll go ahead and kind of move things around it from there so that way we can get a little width on this guy. As you can see, some of them don't actually start exactly at the beginning of the sample, and I kind of like that, so we're gonna leave that. So for this, what we're gonna do is we're gonna open up these samples so we can see everything again, so we can see where the sample starts, and we're gonna turn that grid back off. We're gonna get really into the details here, so we're gonna get way up in there. Okay. Maybe that's too close. That's good. Okay. So let's go ahead and we're just going to spread some of these things out. Not even by a 16th note or a full beat. We're just going to pull a couple of things out. And that way it's not all right on that first hit. There's a little bit of a delay in when the clap finishes. Yeah, you can hear it start to fatten out a little bit. All right, I think we could use a little more distance on some of these. Yeah, there we go. Cool. So now you might be thinking, wow, that's a lot of tracks just for a clap. We don't actually have to keep all these tracks. So what we're gonna do is that we're just gonna go ahead and close this up. We'll go back into the session view, and we will go ahead and create a new track. And so remember these in-out sections here. This is actually going to help a lot right now. So what we're going to do is that we're going to make the audio from on this new audio file. We're going to make that from Sweet Clap. Go ahead and record it and hit record. Awesome. So again, it clipped a little bit. If you're having that, what we're going to do is that we're just going to dial this down a little bit. This is the channel it's coming from. So if we dial it down here, it'll actually load or be recorded into the other audio track at that level. Let's go ahead and start again. See, didn't clip that time. Beautiful. And so we can go ahead and turn this off. And now what does it sound like? Ah, just like before. And so now we can go ahead and get started with EQing. We can go ahead and save this clap, put it onto different tracks if we want. And instead of having a ton of claps right here, we've got some great new samples to work with if we want to come back to them, and one really beefy clap for the future. That's going to be it for today's tutorial. If you have any questions, go ahead and throw them in the comments. I'd love to help out in any way that I possibly can. I'll be bringing out a new video every single Friday. There will be at least one tutorial per month. And if you guys have any suggestions on what you want to see next, go ahead and just leave it right down there in the comments and we'll go ahead and get started. Until next time, guys, do more than press play.